an illegal immigrant from Venezuela who entered the country during the Biden administration, will appear before a judge for the first time since allegedly murdering 18-year-old Loyola College student Sheridan Gorman. She was shot and killed last week while she was out walking near the Chicago campus with her friends. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Emily Compagno, and joining us today, Sandra Smith, co-anchor of America Reports.
Ask me about 50
Carly
after
Shimkus,
this. I'm going to
Fox
answer
and
the
Friends
50
first co-host. Donna Rotuno, criminal defense attorney, co-host of the weekly rap sheet on Fox Nation and Fox News contributor, and host of the Crime and Justice with Donna Rotuno podcast. And Mark and Fox. Dina is charged with first-degree murder and attempted murder, 3 counts of aggravated assault, and discharge of a firearm, and aggravated unlawful possession of a weapon. But this isn't his first arrest. The Department of Homeland Security confirming this: Jose Medina was previously released after an arrest for shoplifting in Chicago. Sheridan Gorman had her whole life ahead of her before this cold-blooded killer decided to end her life. We are calling on Governor J.B. Pritzker and Chicago's sanctuary politicians to commit to not releasing this criminal illegal alien from jail back into American neighborhoods. Meanwhile, critics are slamming one Democratic alderwoman, saying that she callously dismissed this teenager's murder as simply wrong place, wrong time. Watch.
It seems she might have, that as they were just out, you know, people go out to the beach all the time, right? And they go out on the pier, they walk around. So the kids were out doing normal things people do in the neighborhood. And it sounds like this might have been a wrong place, wrong time, running into a person who had a gun. They might have startled this person at the end of the pier unintentionally. We don't believe there is cause for broader community concern.
What? Yo, hold on, bro. Politicians, even if you're a city council person, even if you're an alderman, cannot be this dense. They can't be this idiotic. No way are they this dumb. You gotta be kidding me. She did not just say that. You might have startled this person. Wait. This is a person that's not supposed to be here in the country. They're not supposed to be here in the country, and this is what you got to say? Man, if I was the family, I would be pissed. I would be angry. I would be pissed.
We don't believe there is cause for broader community concern.
Gorman's family defended her, saying this: what Sheridan was doing that night, walking with friends near her campus, was normal. It was safe. It is what students do every day.
Thanks.
We will not allow this to be dismissed as wrong place, wrong time. This was not random misfortune. This was a violent and preventable act. Donna, the gasps here on the couch audible as we listen to, frankly, what were callous statements from that alderwoman. Talk to us about the legal implications here and the structure that this illegal alien enjoyed.
Well, there's so much I can say here, as this basically happened in my backyard, and he will go into a courthouse that I'm in almost every single day. This is horrendous. This reaction from the alderwoman is abhorrent. The fact that you would dismiss this as wrong place, wrong time. There should never be a place where it's okay for people to walk around with guns and shoot people anywhere, much less on the lakefront in Chicago. I mean, this is an area that is beautiful. This is the area that J.B. Pritzker was walking down the walkway telling Marianne Ahern from the news that this is a safe place and Chicago is a wonderful community, and it should be. It should be a safe place. And this is awful what happened to this girl. It was absolutely preventable. The fact that these policies are in place that allowed him to be released. Back when we had reasonable policies in this country, you would get arrested, and if you had an issue where you were not a citizen, there would be a detainer placed on you, and then ICE would be able to come into the jails and remove you. Yep. That is no longer happening. These detainers don't mean anything. The jails and sanctuary cities are not allowing the ICE agents to come in and remove them. And this is making everyone unsafe. There is absolutely no reason for this. There is no.
And you know, that's the worst part about it, is that, again, this is absolutely preventable. That's why it hurts so bad, I would imagine, for the family. is because you could have done something about it, but you decided to politically grandstand, and it was only a matter of time. And is no telling how many other people have been hurt, harmed, maimed, killed, that you haven't even solved the crime from, that didn't get this much visibility. If it wasn't for independent media, if it wasn't for people in the family calling for this to get more traction and for this to go all the way up to the top, then this wouldn't even be a thing for y'all. And they use this, right? Because Brandon Johnson wants to come out as much as he can. JB Pritzker wants to come out as much as they can against anything that they can find to say that they don't agree with the Trump administration. But it's normal to work with ICE to remove people that's not supposed to be in this country that are committing crimes. They wouldn't even work with the Trump administration on that. They wouldn't work with Tom Homan on that. We had to fight them to even send ICE in here to arrest the criminally charged people that were walking around the streets, let alone the YNs. And so now it could have been prevented. Somebody is dead, not because they committed a crime, not because they did something wrong, not because they was a bad person, not because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. But because you were negligent in doing the thing that was best for people. That's why it hurts. That's why they have the Lake and Riley Act. It is bad, it's disrespectful. And the fact that there's even a political fallout over something that was preventable is crazy to me. It's so crazy.
Logical reason to say we should allow this to continue happening, and these sanctuary policies have to stop.
And Sandra, the family also addressed the suspect's prior run-ins with the law, saying this: "We are gravely disappointed by the policies and failures that allowed this individual to remain in a position to commit this crime. When systems fail, whether through release decisions, lack of coordination, or unwillingness to act, the consequences are not abstract. They are real, and in our case, they are permanent, and may I add, heartbreaking."
We all gasped on the couch, including Donna and I, who know that city very well, and we know that it was not in too distant past where Governor Pritzker...
Somebody said, Eric D says the only reason that Fox cares, well, Ike says the only reason that Fox cares facts, because he's piggybacking off of Eric D. And he's saying that the only reason, unfortunately, these issues will be ignored in our current political environment. And then Ike comes through and says, facts, the only reason Fox cares is because it was an illegal. Two things can be true at the same time. Absolutely. Fox could only care because it was an illegal, but it still doesn't justify the fact that it was 100% preventable. 100%. It's not Fox's job to care about the things that you care about. But when they bring visibility to an issue, to something that everybody should care about, it doesn't make it any less egregious that it was something that was completely preventable. It doesn't remove the fact that here's the thing. The real question that we should be asking ourselves is not why does Fox care? Why don't the politicians care? And if this was really preventable, it doesn't matter whether or not Fox cares, to be honest with you. The real conversation that y'all should be having is Brandon Johnson and JB Pritzker and anybody who supports a sanctuary city. Anybody that supports a sanctuary city. That's who we should be having a conversation about. You can't get mad at Fox for bringing visibility to something that also aligns with what they believe. You have to hold accountable the politicians that got this woman killed. Biden administration. Ask yourself this question, because again, over 300,000 children went missing. How much blood does Biden and Kamala Harris have on their hands? How much blood does Biden and Kamala Harris have on their hands? Here's another question that you want to ask yourself. The only way that your point makes sense, Ike, the only way that you're able to justify that your point would make sense is if you would go over to the liberal news TV stations, the CNN, the MS Now, and ask why don't they show it at all? Because you can make the argument the other way and say, well, because it doesn't fit into the agenda that they are supposed to care about, why aren't news outlets that's supposed to be objective and then separated from their opinion giving any visibility to this at all? Would we even be talking about this on a national level had it not been for Fox News? Because this aligns with what it is that they actually stand for. Why don't we have smoke for the other independent media, supposedly large media outlets? They'll cover everything else, but they bring no visibility into what's happening in Chicago with this girl's life. How come MS Now don't care about this woman's life? How come CNN don't care about this woman's life? How come they're not talking about it on the Hill? Why is it only News Nation and Fox News? Because if you're going to have a conversation on one side, you also got to have a conversation on the other side. It's an equal and opposite reaction on liberal news media. How come you not holding the other news stations accountable for not showing anything about it? Right?
Walked along that lakefront where she was killed and touted its safety and how great Chicago is doing. And I mean, we remember this moment and we thought, wow, well, try being that young student, try being the family of that young girl and being told by that Democrat alderman that, you know what, this wasn't a bad guy that was never supposed to be here in the first place that killed your daughter, that it was her fault. She was walking in the wrong place at the wrong time. She may have even startled that guy.
You would have never found out if it wasn't for Fox. No, you would have found out because I would have covered it. Because you know why? Because I don't just cover illegal migrant activity. I cover all of these cities and the crimes that are happening in general. I cover it all. And so there's different people in independent news media that ultimately cover it. But when Fox cover it, I want to see what they had to say about it also. I've been covering crime inside of the community of Chicago, outside of the illegal migrants. It just so happened to be somebody that's an illegal migrant that or a migrant that murdered somebody unjustly in Chicago. Why? Because it falls under bad leadership. Bad leadership fosters an opportunity zone for criminals to thrive.
That person with a gun. I mean, it's just horrific, the explanation that's been given to this poor family. And I was just telling Donna, you know, we look at that city and we think, gosh, it's so far from what it once was and what it could be. It's a great American city. It always has been. But it has been destroyed by these far left policies that have made people like this not safe to walk the streets there. This young student who had every right to be out and about. And she's in the wrong place at the wrong time, she's told. It's not about the policies. It's about her mistake.
Let me see something. Let me pull back for a second. I want to look at it on a local level. Well, actually, let me go over to J.B. Pritzker and see what he's saying. And then I'm going to look at it on a local level.
After an illegal immigrant was arrested, Gorman extended the law of an 18-year-old college student. The governor saying, quote, Sheridan Gorman's murder is a tragedy, and the person responsible must be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. My deepest condolences to the family, friends, and Loyola University community grieving this devastating loss. May her memory be a blessing.
So he's not going to acknowledge that it was a migrant at all. He was bullied into making a statement about it, but now he's not going to acknowledge that it was a migrant. What do you mean held accountable to the fullest extent of the law? They shouldn't even be in this country.
The illegal Venezuelan migrant is facing.
That's crazy, bro. That is absolutely insane. They don't need your condolences now. They don't need your condolences now. At all.
Murder of a Loyola University student is causing a huge political fallout.
Sheridan Gorman's family says they believe it could have been avoided, and local officials should act to avoid something like this happening again. Harris Schutz is here to talk about this. How are city council members reacting?
Well, Terrence and Sylvia, there's some passionate reactions right now. I think they're in the information gathering stage right now, but this concerns Chicago's welcoming city ordinance, or so-called sanctuary city protections. And the long and short of that ordinance means that local police cannot share immigration info with federal immigration agents, and they cannot cooperate or work together on immigration enforcement. And the reason that this is stirring some passionate political debate, and I think we might see some more of this week, is because a select group of alder people tried to modify that ordinance several months ago, but it was voted down 39-11. What they wanted to do, Sylvia and Terrence, is make it so that local police could cooperate with federal immigration officials on criminal suspects. So this alleged undocumented immigrant might have fallen into that because of his previous arrest. So if the sanctuary ordinance had been modified, perhaps the police could have worked with federal immigration agents if indeed ICE and DHS, as they are saying, had targeted this guy, or at least they had known about this person, as they're alleging. Although they're saying he's an illegal alien, I've talked to some cop sources who are not 100% sure. He came from Venezuela, allegedly. He could have been in here on temporary protected status or seeking asylum, which would complicate things a little bit. We just don't know that 100% what his status was. But it is engendering those passions now around aldermen like Ray Lopez, Brian Hopkins. They're stronger on public safety. They want to revisit this vote now. In fact, Ray Lopez told me, I want to talk to those 39 aldermen that voted this down and ask them what they have to say now, given this tragedy that happened in Rogers Park.
Such a horrible, horrible story. What's the likelihood that this will actually come up for a vote in city council? Because obviously over the last year, this has been a topic, Illinois being a sanctuary state and Chicago being a sanctuary city. And when things like this happen, it just kind of heats it up again.
Well, interestingly, there was a recent ordinance to strengthen the sanctuary city protections. AK, they're going to let COPA now investigate if police violate and cooperate with federal agents. So it's gone the other direction. But now you have alders like Brian Hopkins, Silvana Tabares, Ray Lopez, who we mentioned, that want to relook at this. And so they're absolutely going to launch an effort again. But because we mentioned it failed 39-11 in the past, it would be hard to see how it would get the support it would need to pass. And then Mayor Johnson likely would not be in support of this. He has been very clear on his support for the sanctuary city protections, although we have not heard from Mayor Johnson on this case. And we call
eerily quiet, and then absolutely would not support it as far as removing Chicago as a sanctuary city. That is insane to me. And I just want to know, do y'all actually rock with Brandon Johnson still? How much more do they have to show y'all they behind before y'all say, you know what? I'm tired of looking at a black a-hole. I would have said the word about a week and a half ago, but I'm not saying the word today. How much more do he have to show you his behind before you say, I don't want to see no more of your black butt? That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Because they showing you they butt. They don't care. They ain't tripping. It ain't a big deal to them. They not making it a big deal. They not doing nothing. Nothing to help you, nothing to solve for anything in your community, nothing to add value into your life, nothing to make you feel safer inside of your neighborhoods, nothing that actually adds value into the community, but yet y'all keep on voting blue. You keep on holding them down. You keep on trying to sell me on identity politics. And for what? What do you get for it? I'm still asking a question over and over and over and over again. What do you get for voting the way that you vote based off of identity politics? Because think about what happened over in Dalton, Illinois, right? A much smaller city and on a smaller scale than Tiffany Henyard, right? How is Dalton doing any better today than it was when she got out of office? you remove her, you replace. When y'all got Brandon Johnson, when you guys got Brandon Johnson as a mayor, you replaced Lori Lightfoot with something much worse than him. Y'all still doing the same thing over, and it's not just about Brandon Johnson. It's not just about JB Pritzker. You're doing the same thing over and over again. And it doesn't matter who the person is, and you still voting the same way. You getting worse.